In today's video, I am going to explain movements of scapula and I will explain what kind of muscles do what kind of movement. This is right side scapula. I want to explain 8 movements. Yes, 8 movements. That is a lot of numbers, right? So I will talk about 4 basic movements in this picture. First movement is up. This is elevation. And it's going down. This is depression. Elevation and depression. Going outside is abduction. Going inside is adduction. Okay, this is scapular abduction. This is scapular adduction. It's not shoulder abduction. It's not shoulder adduction. Shoulder abduction is going this way. And shoulder adduction is humerus going this way. Scapula going outside. This is scapular abduction. Scapula going inside is scapular adduction. This is very important to distinguish shoulder joint movement or scapular movement. These 4 movements are real basic movements for scapula. Now let's go to next 2 movements. Actually, scapula can rotate. Rotate this way and rotate this way. Rotating kind of this way is upward rotation. And rotating kind of towards thoracic spine is downward rotation. Okay, going this way, away from thoracic spine, this is upward rotation. Towards thoracic spine is downward rotation. Now let me talk about 2 more kind of an advanced movement. This is superior view, right side scapula. Now, scapula can do another kind of a rotational movements. That is this way and this way. Going kind of inside is internal rotation. Then going outside is, of course, external rotation. This is also important thing. Now, I want to talk about abduction and adduction again. When you see scapula from backside, it looks very flat. And abduction looks like, horizontally going outside. Adduction looks like horizontally going medial, right? But if you change angle of view, it's not completely horizontal movement. Okay, orientation of scapula is kind of a diagonal. It's kind of running along shape of rib cage. Does it make sense? So, when abduction happens, it's kind of a diagonal movement. Going outside, but it's kind of a diagonal. What about adduction? It's also kind of diagonal. Going kind of medial and posterior. But if you see scapula from backside, it looks like scapula is, horizontal. Going outside, abduction. Going inside, adduction. But it's not completely true. Scapula is diagonal structure. It sits on the rib cage diagonally. That is why abduction is going anterior lateral. Adduction is like a posterior medial. You should know this orientation. It's very important thing. Now let me talk about what kind of muscles do what kind of movements. Alright, let's start from basic 4 movements. Elevation first. What kind of muscles do elevation? Basically 2 muscles. First one is trapezius. Trapezius, particularly upper fiber, and levator scapula. Simple, right? Upper part of shoulder girdle muscles do elevation. What about depression? Going down. Actually, we don't have to contract muscle to accomplish depression. So there's a passive factor for depression. So passive factor is what? Gravity. Literally gravity pulls scapula down. This is passive factor. What about active? What kind of muscles do depression? That is serratus anterior. I never knew it. Think about it. Serratus anterior is kind of a this way. If serratus anterior pulls scapula this way, going down and slightly diagonal, no doubt this can do depression. I didn't know that. This is a surprise for me. Next one is pec minor, pectoralis minor. Elevation and depression, down. What about scapular abduction? Okay, scapular abduction is serratus anterior and pec minor. Serratus anterior and pec minor, again, it looks like they are important for scapular movement, don't you think? What about going inside, adduction? Okay, that is trapezius, particularly middle fiber, and rhomboid. It's simple to visualize. If you want to go elevation, upper muscles do job. Okay. If you want to go depression, lower muscles do that. Abduction is kind of a tricky, but it's easy to visualize location. Serratus anterior is in the lateral part, and pec minor, you don't see that, but imagine there's pec minor on anterior part. It's slightly on lateral part, right? Adduction, trapezius, rhomboid, they are on medial part. Now let me talk about upward rotation and downward rotation. Okay, upward rotation first. Upward, that is actually upper fiber and lower fiber of trapezius. Trapezius, upper and lower. Now, next muscle is also important one. Can you guess that? That is serratus anterior. Serratus again, and particularly lower fiber. Okay, this one is important. What about downward rotation? Downward rotation. First thing is rhomboid. Let me write here. Rhomboid, levator scapula, and serratus anterior. Serratus anterior again, but thing is upper fiber serratus anterior does downward rotation. And one more thing is pec minor. Oh my gosh, serratus anterior and pec minor again. No wonder they are important for scapular movement. These are upward rotation and downward rotation. Now let's go to internal rotation and external rotation. Remember, internal rotation is this way. External rotation is the other way. Okay, let me talk about external rotation first. Okay, upper fiber of trapezius does that. Trapezius, upper fiber. And again, serratus anterior. Serratus anterior, lower fiber. Serratus, lower. Oh my gosh, how important these muscles are. Serratus is, involved for almost every movement of scapula. Very freaking important muscle for scapula. Well, these are for external rotation. What about internal rotation? This movement needs kind of passive factor again, okay? Passive factor, that is gravity. Gravity and relaxation of trapezius and serratus. It makes sense because external rotation is accomplished by trapezius upper fiber and serratus anterior. If these muscles relax, that can bring to internal rotation. What about active factor? Okay, active one is levator scapula, levator and rhomboid. Shoulder girdle muscles are so important for scapular movement. I didn't know that serratus anterior could that much movement. Freaking important muscle. And levator scapula, rhomboid, trapezius, they can do more various movements than you see on anatomy books. This is why anatomy is fun to study. If you liked today's video, please hit the like button, comment and subscribe. See you next video.